as we've been talking about Hurricane Helene and now Hurricane Milton intensifying the way it just did today, there's been a lot of talk about weather modification or manipulation. I have a video I wanted to share with you with all this going on. I've been talking about this for the last day or two, and I found this to be really interesting. This is a climate geoengineer researcher named Dane Wigington, and he claims to have spoke to members of Congress that have districts in the path of Helene that just came through. And they are saying, according to him, that this is not normal. And he is telling them, you're correct. This is manipulated weather via HAARP and some other technologies. Listen to this. Tell me what you think. I have one thing to say after you watch the video.
Do so. Could you tell us about some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you can tell us, and how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was not a natural event. They're trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations, and we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HAARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction, period. It can cause an electrical chain reaction in the ionosphere, which heats it to extraordinarily high temperatures, which causes the atmosphere to bulge up and down. The downward push creates a high pressure dome that can steer the jet stream. And the same type of manipulation can create low pressure zones. When they have this type of power over the climate system, they can make or break these storms anytime they want. And again, what we see now is storms kept weaker as they're over the ocean because they're harder to steer until they reach the land-based network of transmitters. And then we have, Colonel McGregor, rapid intensification. You've heard that term probably a lot lately because that's how they manipulate these storms. And again, we have Acapulco last October being the extreme example of rapid intensification, an insignificant low pressure system developed into the strongest Cat 5 hurricane to ever hit that part of the world in less than 24 hours, laid waste to Acapulco. And by the way, Hurricane John, which just hit Acapulco again as Hurricane Helene was wreaking havoc in the Carolinas. Not many people know that. So Acapulco just got dealt another blow. So again, how many agendas and objectives are being carried out when we know they can manipulate these storms and we know they can make or break them anytime they want? And again, I bring up the oil infrastructure in the Gulf of Mexico that seems to magically miss any sort of damaging storm again and again and again, while the storms wreak havoc inland and on shorelines. It's not a coincidence. They have that much sway over. So again, I'm just pointing out there's many, many layers. It's not just one objective being carried out. And we can speculate about all those objectives and agendas, but the bottom line is the storm is being steered, period. We're recording the frequency transmission energizing that has a repelling effect on the storm. That's what this is the basis of how they steer that storm. The frequency transmissions repel the air mass that's saturated with electrically conductive particulates, and that's exactly what's happening. And so again, there's no question this is going on, and as we discussed off the air, Greg, I'm communicating with congressional representatives from the Carolinas, had a long conference call this week, about an hour long. I presented data to them. They're on board. They're livid. They're shocked. They're in a state of angst over this occurring. And we're sending printed materials, geoengineeringwatch.org printed materials, which are the most effective key to the door. We pass those on our website for less than our cost of producing and shipping. But we give them to, of course, any type of governmental official or agency, and we send them at our cost to them. And a huge box of these materials have already been sent to the congressional representatives from Carolina.
If this is all true, this will be the biggest and hardest pill that people have swallowed to date. And with that in mind, just think of all the times over the last few decades where they're blaming us for the weather, saying that it's because we drive our gas cars, or we had a cookout over the weekend, or because you ate a cheeseburger. These people are sick and twisted and evil. This is a spiritual battle. Pray up, keep your powder dry. Love you guys. Your voice is a weapon. Use that